Okay, good Erev Shabbos from Yerushalayim Kodesh. We're up to Lamed Zayin Amid Beis. Lamed Zayin Amid Beis. 2 lines from the bottom. Armi Nardoi say, Haiman de Zovin Dikla, a person who purchases a dekel, a palm tree, Lechavre, he goes ahead, right? Konile goes ahead and he's selling a dekel. He's not purchasing it. He's selling a dekel lechavre. Konile mishi pule atahoima. He's kind of it from the karka underneath the tree at the tahoim until all the way down, and all the way down. So this is in reference to that we said that you sell a tree, you don't get karka. This is of the opinion, Ardai, that you would get karka going straight down all the way down. Okay, and what does that mean in halacha? Says the Rashbam that a person would be able to replant the tree. In other words, if we go ahead wide and dry out, since he's kind of the karka underneath the tree, he would be able to replant the tree. Again, he only purchased the tree. So the Nadar is of the opinion, when you purchase a tree, you're getting the land underneath the tree as well. And therefore, says the Rashbam, you'll be able to go ahead wide and replant the tree. Says Taisus, that's not true. You would not be able to replant the tree. What it means is that a individual will not be able to dig underneath the tree. Once the tree is gone, says Taisus, the tree is gone. You purchase a tree, no matter, even though the ground underneath it is yours, only as the tree is existing. Once the tree is gone, then it does no longer. So what does it mean? Then you have the karka if you can't replant the tree. It means that somebody who owns the land around would not be able to go ahead and dig underneath the tree. Machlekes Rashbam and Taisus, what the Nardai means. So how much he sells dikla charbe? So he would go ahead and he goes Kuli Atahoima Amid Aleph Maskav La Rava Freg Rava Maskav Rava. We learned before that a moich, someone sells an elon, he has no karka at all. Mashma, he has no karka, and you're telling me that what he has the karka that's underneath that, right? If you're telling me that he has the karka, right? It's mashma v'lei malei. Let him tell the moicher. Kurkima derishka zevina. I sold you a garden of saffron, Now, what does that mean? The saffron would be planted, and once it's used, it's oiker. You take it out. And you can't replant it. So why can you go ahead and you're telling me that you can go ahead and get this land afterwards, that this land belongs to you, right? Why don't you tell me kurkum with gerishta? Let's see Rashbam here. Masklo Rava. Amai kona karka, the keneged ilan. Why is he kind of the karka underneath the tree? Meyachad itnan, since we learned before, like kona karka klau. You're not kind of anything at all. Like kona. Oh, the kashalim. I swear, kiven de le skayim the karkazu kana. Obviously, that what in order for it to go ahead and exist, you have to be kind of the karka. Because if you're not kind of the karka, how could it exist? Nimsa shekona yanikas hakarka. So in other words, obviously that it must be that if you have it right now, guys, if you have the tree, and the tree, obviously you went ahead and bought the tree and the right to be sustained, why can't you go ahead, Rod, and afterwards and replant another tree? So let the Moichet say, you want to know, I'll tell you why you can't replace another tree. I'll tell you why. Because Kurkuma Derishka Zavina Lacha. We sold him this, the Rashbam says, Regilin Lamimcha Karka, Umanichem At Shiyigma Periyav. You go ahead and sell them with the saffron, the Karka, until the peri is finished, and then you be uprooted. So Afa Ilan Shemachatu Lachol the Periroisav. Even the elan that I sold you for your Paris, karka loy machat, I didn't sell you. El laniach elancha b'karka, only to leave it there. Shali call you meishit tzarich lekarka at shiyavesh. I know doing with the karka umiacha shiyavesh like tahani lekarka. You wouldn't have any more. So in other words, why do you assume that he's kind of it? You just say the following: you bought a tree, and the tree has a right to be sustained, but not that you physically own the karka that you can replant. Right? You don't know that. You've just physically you have rights of Yanika. Where do you see such a concept? From Karka Derishka. that if someone sold the karka with the rishka, as soon as it's gone, it's gone. So within the tree, once the tree is gone, it's gone. So you're not claiming the land underneath the tree that it's yours. You're claiming the tree and the male of the rights of the sustenance of the tree, but you don't own the etzem karka. And you see the concept from karka with the rishka, which is basically saying that as long as the karka with the rishka is there, you have it. Once it's gone, it's gone. So Ela Amarava. So what does it mean? Ela Amarava, when it says that you bought the tree, you own the rights of the karka. Ela Amarava. What are we speaking about? We're speaking about Beba Machmas Taina. The guy's coming and he's making the following claim. He's claiming that that you sold me this land with this tree with the karka. You sold me this land and the tree with the karka, and I don't have a shtar anymore. And since 3 years have passed by, I have a chazaka. So that's what it means. You don't own the land vis-a-vis I was kind of this land with a shtar. In other words, you unless explained otherwise, I can claim that you sold me this tree with the land, unless claimed otherwise. So what Nardoi said over here is Haiman de Zovin Dikla Lechave sell it, right? That he's believed with a claim that unless otherwise, this land belongs to him. It's a halachic claim that this land is me, and if I don't produce a shtar after 3 years, it's the same thing as shani chazaka. So that's what he wants to say over here. He wants to say a marava b'ba machmas taina. Says the Rashbam. See Rashbam. Ela marava hacha hu dekani lekarka shetachas ilan b'ba machmas hataina. He's kind of the karka underneath the tree that he's coming with a complaint. You sold to me the land and you sold to me the tree and the land underneath. You sold to me the tree and the land underneath. That what? Lead to Achim Komo to go ahead and plant another one. Ubishtar. I wasn't careful to watch my star. Therefore, it's not similar to Kurkum with the Rishka. Okay, so let's see. Let's chaz outside what we just said. Rabbi, I'm going to chaz outside the Gemara where we began today. Now, Doi said if a person buys a tree, they get all the land from underneath the tree and everything. The Gemara, why do you automatically assume that? Just because you need the tree to be there, and therefore, if they claim the land, they could plant the tree. Maybe all they did was buy the tree, and Mela by automatically, if you sold the tree, you bought the rights of the nutrients of the tree. But once the tree is gone, you're gone. But not that you own the land underneath the tree and you could replant. You bought a tree, and the tree has a right to be there. And as long as it's there, it's there. But once it's there, you don't own the karka to replant. Where do you see such a concept? Like kurkum with the rishka. So kurkum with the rishka is saffron. You go ahead, you'd sell a person this kurkum with the rishka in your field. Once it's gone, it's gone. So who had in the tree? But why do you assume that there's ownership in the karka? And for the Gemara, says Rava, it's not speaking about that you own the land outright. It's speaking about a guy who comes with a taina. Now, Doi says if a guy comes with a taina and says, I bought a tree and I bought the land underneath the tree, and I don't have a shtar, and you didn't say anything in 3 years, that means that it's his. Stamazla, if you buy a tree, sell a tree, the person doesn't get the karka. Here we're speaking about a person who's claiming that you sold him the karka with the tree. And therefore, he has the karka, he's believed with that taina, unless you go ahead and made a machah during the 3 years he has it. Guys, you good? Again, it's not saying that he outright sold him the land. Clearly, you sell the tree, you don't sell the land. This guy's coming with a taina. Says Nardoi. He's coming with a taina, he's believed. But stamazai without a taina, it vibes like kurkum with the rishka, like garden saffron, which you can't replant, and who within the tree you won't be able to plant because why? You don't own the karka. That's what we just said. Now, says the Gemara, I'll bring you a raya to this. Amalei markashisha bereid Rav Tistel Ravashi, the kurkum with the rishka zavanlei, my havelel lemevid. If he sold him kurkum with the rishka, he went ahead and he sold him this, right? What could he do to stop this claim from taking place. In other words, you're telling me that this person can have this claim. So even if he sold him Kurkim Derishka, let him make this claim and keep ownership of the land. My Havel Mevet. And for the Gemara, Hani, we had this previously. Hani Mashkanta the Surah. Again, the mashkin of Surah, where a guy is paying off a loan by the person using the land, and it usually extends more than 3 years. The Kosev Bey, Hachi, the Mishlam Shon Olin, Tapik Aradable Kesef. At the end of these years, the land will go free without any kesef. You don't have to pay me anything because you paid off the loan through my use of eating the fruits of the land. He kovishle l'shtar mashkanta. If the malva would go ahead and hide the star of the mashkin, v'amar l'kuchi biyadi, I bought it. Hachanami de behimna, would it be believed? Is it possible that the metakna rabbanon milsa dasbei lepsida, that the rabbanon will make a law that you come to a hefsid? How's that possible? That they made a ticket that something would come bad out of it? What do you have to say? You should have made a macha. So Hanami, by the karka with the rishka, if you sell, you should have made a macha. So therefore, you get an explanation of the nadoi. Not that, in fact, a person sells a tree, he's selling the land underneath the tree. He's not. And therefore, if the tree dies, that's it. What's he selling? He's selling that if a person makes a claim that you did sell it, it's a good claim. And you better make, and therefore, if you want to avoid any problems, you better make a macha. Okay. Now we've been discussing the concept of cheska shalosh shanim. Chazak is 3 years, right? You have 3 years. The person after 3 years is not expected to keep a shtar. This is Rav's din. It's a din in watching your shtar, and after 3 years, you're not expected to watch your shtar. And Memela, after 3 years, and the person to make a macha, it will be yours. It'll be yours. Now we're going to see today. There's other opinion. Says the Mishnah. Sholosh artsois l'chazaka. There are 3 lands when it comes to chazaka. Yehuda, the Judea, right? The Ever Yarden, V'Agalul. There's 3 separate lands for chazaka. Therefore, Hayib Yehuda v'Hichzik begalul, or begalul v'Hichzik b'Yehuda, ein a chazaka at shehei imoy b'Medina achas. It's not a chazaka unless you're with him in the same land. It's not a chazaka unless you're with him in the same land. Says Rashbam. Sholosh l'artzois, Beretz Yisrael, obviously Eretz Yisrael l'chazaka. Chaluka zu mizu, le'inyan cheska sholosh shanim kidim farish v'yazal. Hayabala karka b'Yehuda, v'hichzik b'galol, shehayakarka b'galol. So the owner of the land was in Yehuda, and the land under question is in Galol. V'hichzik ba'adam sholosh shanim b'loi macha. And this person was in the Galil for 3 years, and no one else made a claim because the other guy's in Yehuda. Ain't a chazaka. It's not considered a chazaka. Can we farish time of Gemara? The stam Yehuda v'Galil kishas skirim dami. It's like they're always at each other's throats. So when Mela, since they have fighting between them, you would not be able to get a message across that there's a person squatting on your land to make a macha. Shein sheyoros mitzuyos mizul zu. You don't have the caravans traveling, like Havi Macho Bal Karka Macho. And the guy in Yehuda makes the Macho, is not a good Macho. The person in Golo in Yehuda is making Macha. The person in Golo who's sitting on the land, who let's say ostensibly had gone ahead and bought it, but he doesn't know that the person made a Macha, that he should watch his shtar. Because again, there's no communication at this time. Because it's hilkach. Even the eina yachol limchais, since you're not able to make a macha, afagav deloy micha, even though you didn't make a macha, you did not like hifsid b'shtikasai. You would not be mafsik by being quiet. The person in Golo should watch it. It says Rashbam very elaborately, right? Says the Rashbam. Since you don't have a communication between Yehuda and Galil, if you're in Galil on this land for 3 years, and the guy does not make a macha, in other words, not that he made a macha and the message didn't get through, he was totally quiet, 0, did not say anything, you still do not have a chazaka. Because since if he would have said something, it wouldn't have gotten through. Memela, his macha is not a macha, it doesn't make a difference. So therefore, Says the Mishnah, Sholas Arsis Lachazaka, Yehuda Evar Yadim V'Galol, Hayiv Yehuda V'Hichzik B'Galol, B'Galol V'Hichzik Yehuda, Ein a Chazaka. It's not a Chazaka. It's not a Chazaka. That fact is not a Chazaka. Why? Because the Macha can't get through. Actually, even Medina Achas, he has to be, it's Yehuda, Yehuda Galol Galol. Amrav Yehuda, Loi Omru Shalish Shanim Ela Kedei. Rabbi Yehuda says, we said the 3 years of Shalish Shanim, that what? Shehei Bes Ba'amanya, he's in Spain. V'yachzik Shana, the person's machzik for a Shana. V'yelchul v'yodiyu Shana, and a person will travel to Spain and inform him that in Eretz Yisrael, there's a guy sitting on his land. V'yavel Shana Cheres and Kamat. So Rabbi Yehuda, guys, is mechadish a tremendous thing. Rabbi Yehuda does not buy into the fact, guys, of a person doesn't have to watch a star for 3 years. Rabbi Yehuda does not buy into that fact. Rabbi Yehuda says 3 years is the time of the what? That if a person's in a distant land, that he should go ahead and have time to be able to get there and make him and throw you off this land. So therefore, if you're in the same land and the guy knows right away, says Rabbi Yehuda, it's a chazaka. If you're on the land, and the guy sees you on the land, and he doesn't say anything, it's a chazaka miyad. Because the whole purpose of whole purpose of, I'll be with you in a second, Esh. The whole purpose of according to Rabbi Yehuda, is 3 years is to give you time to travel. Once you take away that fact that you don't have to travel, the macha is the macha right away. Again, guys, remember the Ramban. The whole idea of Shalish Shanim, he says, taka guy right away should open his mouth. The fact that he's not opening his mouth right away, what is it shows that the person on the land owns it. The Reya say doesn't have a star. Okay, he's explaining Rava. But the idea that a person's on the land and right away you should open your mouth. That's Rabbi Yehuda. Therefore, guys, very important. Rabbi Yehuda says macha shaloi b'fanav, right? Macha shaloi b'fanav is not a macha because you have to physically go and tell the guy. You can't. It's not enough to go ahead and say I'm in Spain and I go ahead and I go ahead and I say something and I send the guy. No, you have to physically go yourself. Okay, I guess Yashi.
So just comes to mind this week's parsha. A guy's in the Ari Miklat. He can't make a macha.
What do you mean?
So let's say a guy's in an Ari Miklat because he's there because he killed somebody accidentally. So that would be he can't make him.
We'll see. We'll see that locha physically by Reach. We'll see with Bez Hashem. We'll see on the base something that's might be answer your question. Okay, so again, if you just look at the end of you see in the Rashbam, guys, where it says Gemara, in the Rashbam where it says Gemara, go up 3 lines. The time of the Rabbi Yehuda, loy mishum de tleshonim izdar inshi b'shtara. It has nothing to do with a person watching a star for 3 years. Ela kidim afarish. But right to come and that a year to travel, a year to find out, a year to come back. The time of the chazak of the day, shavik inish tachlula ara, say no person is going to let another person on his land to eat without rishus. I feel a shachas even for 1 hour. The shas that can remain silent. Why do they have the time of 3 years? Sometimes the ma'arer is far away. And ihavi ma'ara be'ir havi chazaka miyad. But if the ma'ara was in the city, it would be chazaka immediately. Kedamin l'kamon. The Pirkenes will say later on. Again, Rabbi Yehuda makes a lot of sense to me. Rabbi Yehuda, I mean, he just makes a lot of sense to me. The halach is not like Rabbi Yehuda, by the way. The halach is like the Tanakama, but he makes a lot of sense to me. A person is going to be on your land. You're going to go look away. Obviously, you're looking away. It's obviously must be that no person's going to. You hear a guy's living in your apartment. You can go ahead and look away, right? I'm sure Dove's not looking away. Dove's getting the marshal down there right away, right? No, okay. I'm sorry, Dove. Anyway, they have Shabbos, and that was not nice. Okay. Anyway, says the Gemara. My Kasava Tanakama. What did Tanakama say, guys? Tanakama says Yehuda Golol. What's the bottom line, fellas? It has nothing to do with Yehuda Golol. It has to do with what can the communication get through or not. Is the internet connected or not? It's nothing to do with locale. So it says, if he holds that a person goes to Bezdin, makes a claim and says this guy is on my land, and he holds it's a good macha, right? So therefore, afilu Yehuda v'Galol nami, even between Yehuda Galol, it should be a macha. So good. This is Yehuda, this is Galil. Now you know already the answer because we saw the Rashbam that there was not a communication between them. But Stam is like, one wants to know if Macha Shalei Befonov is a Macha, why can't I just go to Bezdin, make a Macha, and despite the fact that I'm in Yehuda and he's in Galil, and it should work. Now, Ikasav Macha Shalei Befonov Lo Yavi Macha, and if he holds that Macha Shalei Befonov, that physically you have to be there, and it's not a Macha if you're not, I feel Yehuda Yehuda Namiloi. Even Yehuda also should not work. So Mimanav Shach, fellas. Beautiful kasha. Says the Mishnah, Daf from Yehuda to Galil is not a macha. Mashman Yehuda, it would be a macha. 1 second. If you hold macha shaloi b'fanav is a macha, even from Yehuda to Galil. And if you hold macha shaloi b'fanav habi macha, right? Shaloi b'fanav, if you can hold that what is loy habi macha, that even within Yehuda itself, it should not work and you'd have to go physically. So what's Pshat in the Mishnah? Says the Gemara, Amrav Abba Bamamal Amarav. Names are important here, guys. Amrav Abba Bamamal Amarav says Abba Bamamal in the name of Rav. La'olam Kesavar Machosh LeBefanav Havi Macho. Okay, so now, guys, Rav is coming to Fataych our Mishnah. Rav is coming to explain our Mishnah that Machosh LeBefanav is a good Macho. So if that's the question, why then Yehuda Galil not? And our Mishnah is speaking a time of what? Of fighting between, that you're not going to get a message through. Iran and Israel, you know, you're not getting a message through. It's tough, right? That's what our Mishnah is speaking about. Therefore, if you're b'shas chirum, right, your macha, which normally wouldn't work, doesn't work. Macha shalei b'fanav havi macha. That's what the Mishnah is saying. But since it's shaschirim of what? Of fighting, and therefore the svara of it getting through, shayaris mitzuyos, will not apply. And memela, that's why it's not good. Umayshna Yehuda v'galol. So guys, if it depends upon shaschirim, why are you learning Yehuda v'galol? Why don't you just learn shaschirim? On that the Gemara says, right? On that the Gemara says, Umayshna Yehuda v'galol, the nakat, hakamash malon, the chiddush is, the Stam Yehuda v'Galol k'shaskirim dami. Stam Yehuda v'Galol is k'shaskirim. In other words, Yehuda v'Galol seems to be Stam is in a state of what of now. This shaskirim I is speaking where there is the fighting is over physical fighting, not monetary fighting. They're not monetary sanctions, but actual physical sanctions. In other words, they're worried about what. It's like I have over here the Meiri quotes the Goine Svard, the Rimagash, and the Itor, and Rabbeinu Tam brings the Itor, and he says the Skimu Shekoma Sheyesh Ben Yishmaelim v'Neitzrim, the fighting between the Middle Ages between the Arabs, the Ishmaelim and the Neitzrim and the Christians, the Crusades, right? Stama Chirum. That stam would be a chirum. Vein chazakim yiseh al zeh. So Stam, he says that an example of chirum would be during the Crusades, the fighting between the Christians and what and the Arabs. And Stam Yehuda v'Galil was in that state. It's an interesting Tosfos on the Amid base, fellas. Stam Yehuda v'Galil k'shas chirum. Now you might recall, I'm sure you do, that a person who brings a get has to say b'fani nichta, b'fani nechtam. In front of me it was written, in front of me it was signed. Right? We all know that, correct? What about from one Medina to another Medina in Eretz Yisrael? Okay, so it says Tosfos in time out. Umayshna the gabe get, Ama bereish get, and we say at the beginning of Masechta Gittin that Hamebi get me Medina to Medina Eretz Yisrael ain't tzarich loyim b'fani nechtam b'fani nechtam. In other words, you're going from Yehuda to Galil, you don't have to say b'fani nechtam b'fani nechtam. Mishum kiven the ikka oily regolim, since they're people oily regel mishkach shchichi l'kaima, you'll find Adam that will be able to go ahead and authenticate the get. I feel this man shein beis hamikdash kiven the ikka bate dinim de kavai mishkach shchichi. So in other words, guys, the whole reason that, again, of get, what are you worried about? I maybe get, when do you have to say b'fani nechtav is what? Because in case the Baal comes to ma'arer, right? Shalom Lishma, Edim Lusim L'kaimoi. So l'chayra, if you're telling me from Yehuda l'Galil, b'shas chazaka, b'shas chirim is not a good chazaka, then why would you, and there's no shayeres mitzuyos, so why by get would you not have to say b'fani nechtam if you're not going to have what? The person to authenticate the get. What's the difference between get And what's the difference between Cheska Shalosh Shonim? If you don't have people, you don't have people. So Maman of Shach, you're telling me by Cheska Shalosh Shonim, it's not a good chazaka. Yet you tell me by get, it's a good get because you don't have to worry, right? What's the difference? Fascinating, human nature. The Vadai Gabe get mitzuyin l'kaimoi, afil mi Yehuda l'galo. By get, you'll find someone to authenticate it, even from Yehuda l'galo. Lefisha isha regila lachser achrei eidei kiyom. Right? The isha is what is because the isha is she's going to go ahead and look after eidei kiyom. Lefisha isha regila lachser achrei eidei kiyom. The woman herself is going to go over to find eidus to authenticate. Right? If not that you have a tremendous amount of people going, you're not going to hear the person's macha. The person who's holding on the land is not going to go ahead and know he's meicha or not. So it seems the following. There seems to be a certain level of commerce going back and forth. So when it says Yehuda v'Galol, there's no whatsoever. It's not true. There is. However, if it's a place where there is a tremendous amount of commerce going back and forth, then no matter what, be it get, be it Cheskes Shalosh Shonim, the macha is going to get through. You're going to get it through. But if it's this trickle of oil regolim or going batei dinim, so by get, since you can go ahead and add to that, the woman desire to get divorced, to authenticate her get, she's going to make sure to find out with that, whatever bit of transportation is there, she's going to get the answer. This guy who's squatting on the land, he's not going to be looking for whether the guy's making a macha or not. So therefore, unless you have the multiple transportation, you're not going to go ahead and say that it's a good macha. The little bit is not enough. So it depends very much on the person involved. By the woman who it's for her betterment to make sure this get is a good get, it's enough. You don't have to say she's going to take care of it. By the machzik he's not going to sitting on the land, he's worried about someone making a macha or not, and therefore, unless there's a tremendous amount of traffic going through, it's not going to get through. Chilik between get and I just thought get is something we're so familiar with. I thought you would appreciate the kasha and the teretz. Rav Yehuda Marav says Rav Yehuda, the name of Rav, ein machzikin b'nichsei boireach. This is now Heshi touched upon it. He used Ari Miklat as a means of 1 second. So if this guy physically cannot get through, you mean there's no chazaka? So what's the person in boireach? He's running away. He's running away. He's on the run. He's a fugitive. He's on the run. Good. If he's on the run, is the chazaka on his land the chazaka or not? Heshi, right? You hear this is shaila, right? It would be the comparable to your shaila, right? Would this be a macha or not? We're going to see it's the machloikis amaroyim. So I'm Rabbi Yehuda Marav. Ein mechazikin b'nichsei boireach. You can't go ahead and be machzik in the nechasim of a person on the run. Let's see Rashbam, guys. Ein machzikin b'nichsei boireach. Kloimar im hichzik eino chazaka. If the person's machzik, it's not a good chazaka. Can you farish v'azal? The kasavar macha shaloi b'fonav loy havi macha. The kivin lo yachal limchay, since this guy can't make a macha, gamzel lo yachal lahachzik. This person can be machzik. Uchreb Yehuda svirale. The Amay b'masnisan yelchu v'yidaihu shana v'yavu l'shana acheres the mashma the tzarich limchais b'fonav. Okay, let's go ahead, take the information and discuss. Not discuss, just have me tell it to you. It's like this. Unless you want to talk. I mean, at any time, any person is willing to talk. Okay, like this. If you need to physically be there, right, then a person's on the run can't physically be there. If a person's in the Ari Miklat, he can't physically be there. Now, it must be that this opinion holds macha shaloi b'fonav isn't a good macha, like Rav Yehuda in our Mishnah. So when you tell me that a person who's on the run is you can't be machzik in his land. You know why you can't be machzik in his land? Because the message to go ahead and get through to watch your star is not going to get through. So therefore, you better keep hold of your star. You're never going to hear a complaint from this guy. And why? Because any complaint, any macha that he makes is not a macha. He has to physically be there. But since he's by Reach, since he's in the Ari Miklat, he can't physically be there. He can't physically be there. So this statement of Rav Yehuda in the name of Rav, that there's no chazaka in the Nechasim B'Reach, takes into account we must hold like Rav Yehuda. That chazak, that macha shalei b'fanav lo yahavi macha. Because even though by Reach could stop for a second and say, guess what? I'm saying in front of two Eidim and Bezdin, go ahead and make him. You don't have that option, guys. You good? You see how it's totally in the shita out of Rabbi Yehuda. Again, this was Heshi's kasha. Dov.
I thought the problem is because of Bareich, he's not possible. The problem with Chazak is if it's your land, you're going to go check on it. I thought the problem with the Bareich is he's busy on the run. You can't even expect him to go back and check on his land.
That's exactly what we're saying, Dov. But why can't he go? That's exactly what. Not check on the land. He has to physically go back and tell the guy, again, this is Shitas Rabbi Yehuda. The reason for 3 years is to physically get him to not check on the land, physically go back and throw the guy off the land. It has nothing to do with shtar. This is nothing to do with the shtar. 3 years is enough time for you to go back and say, what in the world are you doing on my land? So you're exactly right. You're a bayreach. You won't be able to do that. You're exactly right. You won't, not to check, Dov, but to go ahead and tell the guy, get off my land. Why don't you say, go ahead, make a macha shaloi b'fanav? What's the answer? Rabbi Yehuda holds macha shaloi b'fanav, lo yahavi macha. It's not a good macha. What's not good? What's not good?
I thought because he's on the run, he wouldn't even know that somebody's on his land.
Then again, that's not what Rashbam says. That's not what Rashbam says. That's not what he says. Because again, if he can't possibly know about it, then everyone would agree that it's not a chazaka. Everyone would agree it's not a chazaka if you can't possibly know about it. But Reach usually means that you're on the run, but you could know about it, but I can't. In other words, Reach means, what does Reach mean? I can't physically be there. I can't physically be allowed to go ahead and remove you. That's what it means. Reach, the point being, physically, I'm not there. That's what it's stressing, right? According to you, has nothing. Reach, he doesn't know about it. Why Reach then? Let's say a person's he's on an extended vacation, Dov. Maybe he's far, far away, right? And he can't know about it. Why would it be totally in Bayreach?
He should have Kenny put in camera so he can observe him from wherever he is.
Or Heshi on the case. Okay, there are ways, but again, we're talking about Derech HaTeva, not supernatural people with supernatural powers.
This is Rav Yehuda Amar Rav is saying this. But on Amud Aleph, Rav said that macha shel b'fanav havyu macha.
There is Rabbi Avi listening to his Rebbe to go ahead and be maked on the name.
To the names.
And there you are, and that's why you're Rabbi Avi. That's true. That is Gemara. That's why I said it's important because the Gemara is going to ask us a stira. Gemara is excellent. Gemara is going to ask us a stira. See, it's good to know some guys listen. It's nice. Anyway. Geschmack. Okay, so I'm Rav Yehuda Marav. Aim machzikim b'nichsei bareach. You can't be machzik b'nichsei bareach. And again, according to this, what's the inference, guys? That Rav holds machosh lo b'fanav lo yahavi macha. Good. Ki amrisa kamei de Shmuel. When we said now, Rav, this is what you guys remember. Rabbi Yehuda was learned by Rav. When Rav was nifta, he came to learn by Shmuel. That's when Shmuel called him Shinana, sharp one. So now, when I said in front of Shmuel what Rav said, Amali, Shmuel told Rabbi Yehuda, in other words, he holds by Reach would be a good chazaka. Why? Because he could be Maicha. Because he holds Macha Shalai B'fanav, Havi Macha. The Rav, my Kamash Balon, Macha Shalai B'fanav, Lo Havi Macha, V'Amar Rav, Macha Shalai B'fanav, Havi Macha, as Rav Avi just pointed out on the Oven Aleph. Good. Okay, now, if you were really listening, I told you Rav was explaining Pshat in our Mishnah. In our Mishnah, Macha Shalei B'fanav what? Havi Macha. But Rav himself holds what? Macha Shalei B'fanav Loi Havi Macha. That's what the Gemara answers. Says the Gemara again. Guys, look back at the Amid Aleph. Go up 4 lines from the bottom. Amid Aleph. Amar Rav Abba Bamamo, Amar Rav. This is answering Pshat in Mishnah. Loylam Kusava Machosh Lebefon of Havi Macha. Mishnah Seinu is being B'Shas Chirum. Rav is saying Pshat in our Mishnah. He's telling us, you know what Pshat in our Mishnah is? Pshat in our Mishnah is speaking about Machosh is speaking about is Machosh he hold Machosh Lebefon of Havi Macha. But in fact, Rav does not hold that way, and therefore by Reach, it's not a good chazaka. It's a very geschmack. It's very good Gemara Kasha back by us in the Amid base. How could you say machosh lebefon of it's not a macha? From a Rav machosh lebefon of havi macha. And for the Gemara, Rav taimo the Tana di don kamafarish. Rav is explaining the reason the Tana of our Mishnah. Right? He's explaining the reason the Tana of our Mishnah. But he in fact does not hold that. He holds machosh lebefon of lo yavi macha. He was just explaining the Mishnah. Very, very, very geschmack. Says the Gemara Vayta. Iked the army. Same dialogue, totally different. I mean, totally inverted. Right? Not that a machzik, but nechzik. In other words, you would have a good chazaka. Why? Because machot shaloi b'fanav havi macha. So despite the fact that he's by reach, he should have made a macha, and when he didn't, his chazaka is good chazaka. So now the Amin Aleph is a raya to Rav, right? It's consistently, it's not a kasha. Says the Gemara. Right? The army Amr Yudam Rav Machzik Kiamisa came to Shmuel only Pshita. The Chilim Chas Fun of Havit Sarich. For Rav my Kamash Malon Machosh Le Fun of Havim Macha. Amr Rav Chodeb Zimna already. He said it once before by Amr Rav Udam Rambel. So Eloha Kamash Malon. Da Filu Micha B'fnei Beis Shein Yichaylim Laima Loi Havim Macha. Let's say in front of 2 people, guys. He said in front of 2 cripples, 2 blind people. In other words, he said in front of 2 people who physically themselves would not be able to go ahead and get there. They physically could not get there. Rav's Chiddush is still a macha. Rav's Chiddush, guys, is still macha. Even though we don't see share in front of people who are going to join training camp. Where's your tie? Where's your white shirt and tie? Is Sarah wearing a Pennington shirt? Oh, there she is. She's wearing that. Eli Manning. This is this old stuff already. Eli Manning, Lawrence Taylor. By the way, Benji, for the record, is wearing Lawrence Taylor, who is a convicted felon of raping young girls. And that's what
you'll take him on the Jets today?
In a heartbeat. Anyway. And this is all recorded for posterity. Once I take him on the Jets and give him a bonus. Anyway, says the Gemara.
I think it needs to be this year needs to be edited.
No, I don't know. I know it's goofy. Anyway, hopefully no one will listen to besides us.
We're probably going to be voting for a convicted felon, so
Every once in a while, if you go and see on YouTube, like 50 people watch the share. Watch this. This is one of the shiur in that. Okay, anyway, so guys, Geshmak, listen to what he's saying. The Chiddush of Rav now is the other way. He holds machashal b'fanav havi macha. Therefore, by reach is good chazaka. So why are you telling me this? You already said pshat in the Mishnah that way. Why do you have to say it the second time? The Chiddush is that even though you're sitting in front of 2 people who normally are incapable of traveling, it'll be a good macha. You know why? Because the chavra is because it's all a rumor. It's going to get passed down. Says Anan, L'didim Farsh Limine Damar Shmuel, Micha b'fnei Shnei Bnei Edim Sheyicholim Loim Alav. You stay in front of 2 Bnei Adam who Havi Macha, Micha b'fnei Shnei Bnei Edim Sheyin Yicholim Loim Alav Havi Macha. Right. So says Mar Shmuel said that the Macha has to be in front of people who are capable of traveling themselves, and Rav says no. Rav says even though they can't travel, it's a good Macha. You know why? Because Chavra Islay, your friend has a friend. The Chavra Islay. Amar Rabbi says, Rabbi Hilchasa, ein mechazikin b'nichsei bareach. Right? Says Rabbi, therefore you're not machzin the nichsei bareach, u'machosh le b'fanav havi macha. Now, l'chayri, that's a stirim in Eubei. You're telling me that it's not a good chazaka if you're on the field of bareach. And in the same breath, you're telling me a macha is a good macha. If macha is a good macha, then you could be machzin nichsei bareach, guys. It's again, why can't you be machzin nichsei bareach? Because why? He's not going to get the message. And now you're telling me, well, guess what? Shalai b'fanav, you could do it. Excuse me, not that he's not going to get the message. You won't physically be able to go there because you're being Bareach, because Shitas Rabbi Yehuda. I machosh le b'fanav macha. Says my tarti. Anytime the Gemara says tarti, means a stira, like kasha. Kam Bareach machmas mamin, kam Bareach machmas mardin. Very gishmak, guys. If you're running away from the IRS, yeah? Hesh, you're on this one. If you're running away from the IRS, are you worried about giving away your locale? You're not worried about giving away your locale. They're not coming to arrest you. They're going to garnish your salary. They're going to deal with you in what? Within the banking system. But they're not physically going to come go ahead and run after you. What happens if you're a fugitive from murder, guys? So geschmack. If you buy reach for mammon, then you have time to go ahead. What? Not only have time, listen to the lumdis. You'll make a macha. Where was this macha made? In Jacksonville. Wherever it was, Jacksonville, Sayreville, wherever it was made, the macha will be a good macha. Why? Because you're not worried about giving up your position. If on the other hand, you're boy reach. What? Because of dinei nefasha is a mechaskinan. In that case, is chazaka wouldn't be chazaka. Because even though the guy's macha would be a good macha, he's not going to make it. Why is he not going to? Heshi's loving this. He's not going to make it. You know why he's not going to make it? Because he's scared about being found out. Look at guys. Look at the lashon of the Rashbam. Beautiful. Kan boireach machmas mardin, machmas ritzichas nefashais. So yore limchais. He's scared to go ahead and make a macha. Pen yoidea makam tachunosai. They're going to find the place where he's encamping. The year doif goyal adam achrav, and the goyal adam is going to go get him. Ki Yachem levavai, because he's all heated up. The Sigur Baharga is going to get him. Ubedi day kapasik Rav. But there Rav said the emach chasigim nefsei boyreyach v'hachi hilchasa. So it comes out, guys, geschmack. There's a nafka. Machosh le b'fonav havi macha. Not like Rabbi Yehuda. We don't pass like Rabbi Yehuda. So you normally a machosh le b'fonav is good. There is one instance where it's not good, where the guy doesn't want to make it because he's scared of finding it out. He's boireach because it didn't nefashais, and therefore he's not going to be meicha because people are going to find out his location, and therefore emechaskin in his land. Mashenkin, he's running away from dinei mamonis, the tax collector, right? Then he doesn't mind, and therefore he would be a good chazaka.
So the case I said, Ari Miklat, that would be like mamonis then, or would it be like Ritzeh?
Again, the case of Ari Miklat, the way we were doing in Shitas Rabbi Yehuda, machosh lebefan of loy havi machol. It's not a good macha, so therefore it's not comparable. The case it depends, right? It depends on the case. Ari Miklat, well, we know he's in there already. So if he's protected from the goyal adam, l'chayra, according to your case, it would be a good macha. He could make it,
right?
Okay, so but it says by reach. By reach is not. It's interesting.
Right, he's not running.
Ari Miklat is not money, and the goyal adam knows where he is. Okay, it's a good shaila. Anyway, wish everyone a good Shabbos from Yerushalayim and HaKodesh. See, I will not see you Motzei Shabbos. I will get to share out. Hopefully, Steve will do it. I have the reason I wasn't able to go ahead. I don't have the computer over here, but Steve has been good and been getting it out early. Rabbi Avi, this Motzei Shabbos, I'm not sure, but Bez Hashem, check whenever you can after Shabbos. I will send you the link, and because there'll be no one online, I'll be mano alono. So have a good Shabbos.
Be safe.
Okay, yeah. Well, let's you know what? Yeah.